Hello everyone, welcome to the Common Gamer Movie Show. My name is Deshaun, and today I'm here to give you my, now Seth can't be here for this, but my action classic of the week. Last week I reviewed Equilibrium with Seth. Seth can't be here for this, he's busy today, but I am going to give you my action classic of this week, which is Lethal Weapon. Now Lethal Weapon is a classic. Everyone knows what Lethal Weapon is. It's an action classic of all proportions. Lethal Weapon revolutionized the cop genre. At the time, when Lethal Weapon came out in 1987, at the time, there was really movies, like cop movies were mostly either movies about like a single cop, like a Dirty Harry or something along those lines. And a lot of action movies were one thing or the other. And like the buddy cop genre had been introduced, the buddy genre was introduced, but less of like two cops and more of something else. But this movie brought the buddy cop genre to life. From this movie, you would get movies like the Rush Hour franchise, Bad Boys franchise, and other movies of the same ilk. You would get so many other movies along the lines of this movie, so many other movies where they get two actors with good chemistry and put them together and make them duos. This movie was where that started. It pushed the genre to another heights. Now, this movie rests on the shoulders of Danny Glover and obviously Mel Gibson. And this is Mel Gibson at his height. Well, this is Mel Gibson before, like, I don't think before his height. Like, this is Mel Gibson rising, the rising star Mel Gibson in 1987. This is Mel Gibson, they see something in him, something's coming, you're gonna get Braveheart, you're gonna get Patriot, you're gonna get some of those movies after this movie. But this was rising star Mel Gibson. I'd say Mel Gibson was probably in the same place that Will Smith was in the first Bad Boys and this first Lethal Weapon. He was rising. And Danny Glover was established. You know, he was established. He's been in some movies at this point. He's done a lot of things, but this would go on to be probably one of Danny Glover's biggest movies. Like outside of like Color Purple, I'd say that Lethal Weapon is his biggest movie. The Lethal Weapon franchise is the thing that he's most known for, and you've heard this before. If you heard this before, it's because they originated it. Two cops from different places in life. You got Officer Riggs, who he's just, he's a wild card. He's all over the place. You never know what he's gonna do. He's going through some things, and then you got Roger, aka goddamn it, how am I already forgetting people's goddamn names? Not Mel Gibson, aka I just said his name. I got Danny Glover. Jeez, what am I doing? AKA Danny Glover's character. Danny Glover's character, he's old, he's been at this game for a long time, he's done so many things. He has a family, he has children. And this movie is where that trope started to come from too, is like when you have these two different people, have them have so different radical backgrounds. Like how Riggs is, like I said, Riggs is crazy. He's a little on the edge. He's lost a lot. He's never really had a steady relationship after the loss of his wife. And he's former military. He's actually former like black ops. So he's a badass. He's really good. He's a badass. He's the action guy. And then, like I said, Rogers is the family man. He's the everyday cop. He knows these streets. He knows this. He knows how things work. He's kind of a moral compass. He's not afraid to kill people, but he also tries to do it the right way. And together they uncover a conspiracy that's going on with this guy trying to bring in drugs into the city, obviously. And needless to say, they take them down. Now, the story is simple. Lethal Weapon is a very simple, straightforward story of two people on the opposite spectrum of the cop world coming together to take down a guy, and in the process becoming better people and becoming better of it. Really, Mel Gibson is the star of this movie. I would say that it's a buddy cop movie and they do share 50-50 screen time, but the story is really about Mel Gibson, whose character Riggs lost his wife in the story. I don't know if they specify how long he lost his wife. I know it wasn't too long ago because like one of the officers in the place talks about how he lost his wife not too short. But yeah, he loses his wife and he's on the edge. we've seen this before, you know, the cop who loses it all, and now he's just like on the edge. He does whatever he wants. He kind of wants to die. You see him every night. He grabs a gun and he got a bullet, and he just like, you know, like I said, every night, and he's trying to find reasons not to kill himself, and it's the job, and obviously he runs into Rogers, and Rogers the opposite. He's steady, and he's getting. And Rogers' whole story is he's getting older. That's where the catchphrase "I'm getting too old for this shit" comes from this movie. And he's getting older. He's getting older. The first thing you see of him is his kid celebrating his, like, I think they said it was his 49th birthday. It was either his 50th or 49th birthday. He's hitting 50. He's getting old. He's been in this game for a long time. He has a family and everything. And, you know, retirement is coming up on the horizon for him. So right now, he's just like, all I got to do is ride it out, you know, a couple years from now, and I can retire. That's what he's thinking about. Meanwhile, he's stuck with this loose cannon. So obviously you got the cop who's just peacekeeper, and you got the reckless one. And together they're like yin and yang, and they mix together very well. The chemistry between Mel Gibson and Danny Glover is all time. It's always been all time. And it's all time throughout all four of their movies after this. The chemistry is the thing that keeps it together. It's very similar to the chemistry between Martin Lawrence and Will Smith in Bad Boys. It's fantastic. And here it's fantastic. Sure, the villains are a bit cliche. Sure, the story's not the most complex cop story you've ever heard. But it's fun. It's action-packed. It packs an emotional wallop. You really enjoy every single second both of these guys are on screen. You are having a good time. And the thing is, I actually think the sequel might be better than this one. But I'm not reviewing the sequel. I decided to review the first one today. You know, at least today. But yeah, this was a great movie on a rewatch. So there are some things that don't hold up. Some of the dialogue is still a bit weird. Some of the way it's shot is so late 80s, early 90s. So there is that. But other than that, like I said, I enjoy it. It's a really cop story. It also has a good captain in it too. It's great opposite attracting story. It's great arcs. Both characters by the end of the movie feel differently than they started at the beginning of the movie. So, because by the end of the movie, Mel Gibson's character no longer wants to commit suicide, and in fact, he feels like he finally has someone like that he can rely on, and he no longer wants to die. He feels like life's worth living again. He found reasons to live again. And Mel Gibson's character, not Mel Gibson, and Danny Glover's character no longer feels old. He still feels like he got it. He still feels like he can still do this job at a high level, and that he's not old. He can still do this, and he can still do this well. And that's the story. And like I said, this one's gonna be a bit shorter because it's a lot more straightforward. But I give Lethal Weapon as an action movie a 9 out of 10. As a movie, it might be a 7 out of 10. Because I think as a movie, the plot itself isn't that complicated. There's not a lot of twists and turns. What you see is what you get. It's very straightforward. Like I said, there isn't anything too crazy that happens. I mean, there's crazy things that happen, but as an action movie, the action is fun. The character beats are fun. The character interaction is excellent. The majority of the cast is really good. The villains are a little lacking, which prevents it from being any higher than a 9. But other than that, Lethal Weapon as an action movie gets a 9. Thank you guys for joining me on the Comic Game Movie Show. Please remember to like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.